Okay, we're back for more Legend of Esper. We are still in Haldreth, and currently, Hulf is standing over the dead body of an arcane member in the archives, the lower level of the archives. As Hulf stands over the dead body, we are looking eye to eye with Shafa, as she is in disbelief of what she sees. Now, here are her details, her perks and quirks: risk taker, stubborn, obsessive. So I'm assuming stubborn might be more of a problem for our character, for Ulf. So, Ulf is holding a scroll that the arcane member was rummaging for through the crate. And I'm thinking the door to the room, to the storage room, is broken through, was picked or broken into. So, Ulf might need to roll a skill here in order to convince her this is not what it looks like. But I mean, the arcane member is a giveaway that the arcane is technically an enemy of the archives, and Holth is an ally to an extent. So this probably doesn't look as bad as I would first think. At first, I thought. So let's roll the oracle, see how this will turn out. Now, slight update. Changed a few of the oracles just for fun. Let's use our actions table. See what she does after she enters. I'll try to remain within her character scope. So stubborn is what I'm thinking right now. So let's roll the dice and see what we land on. 65 is going to be attach. Okay, so attach. Let's get a subject matter. Attach something. Let's see. Attach the dice to the browser. There it is. Attach 22. Attach energy. Okay, so she is going to be putting some effort into this. She quickly walks in, shuts the door, walks up to Hulf, kneels down, and looks at the arcane member. She rolls over the body, and it's just some random arcane member. She doesn't recognize him. She looks up and she stands up, and she inquires about what happened. Hulf describes that he saw this guy rummaging through the storage. After seeing him up on the roof, they caught him breaking in, and Hulf followed suit. So, believe, remember, Arcane, the archives are not friends, they are enemies. So, she says we have a problem. And, oh, right, she's holding a case. Well, maybe she dropped it off somewhere, or she was in her way inside. She was going inside to her office, but she saw the door open. So she put the crate down somewhere. Maybe she put the crate down in her office. Let's just assume it's in her office or her study. Her study. It's in her study. And then she comes out and she sees the door is ajar into her storage next door. She goes in. That's where she found out what happened in this current scene. And since we're still within the same scene, technically Wolf hasn't shaken off that wound. So he still has one wound, which means two vigor. I will call them wounds. Still considering Savage Worlds as a backdrop here for this game. So wounds is just seems more relevant. So she is confused at what happened. Now remember, she does not know Jory is the leader of the Arcane. Hulth is keeping that to himself. I don't think he wants to. He probably should. I mean, in a perfect world, he's going to say, you know what, that guy you were talking to outside, he's actually in charge of your very enemy that you despise. That's not the case. Remember, they reached a truce. Hulf and Jory, they saved each other's life several times, and Hulf sees that as a neutral respect. Um, Not like best friends, but just kind of like, you know what? You do what you do, just don't get in my way, vice versa. But that could be a setback. So again, that might be a problem from Hulf in the future. Maybe he's too dismissive of certain individuals. We can consider that as an option, as an aspect later. So you know what? That might be worth an aspect. I'm going to give him a aspect called respect or truce with Jory. So truce with Jory, which means that I can compel this to use against him. And I have a plan for Jory, which I want to show you guys right now. So in the document here, I expand on Jory's character. And here's what's going on with him. Also some backstory for the king. He's looking to spread influence of the arcane, gain power throughout Escabur. First, the Southern Island. Power Bender, we knew about that. That takes away from his life force. That's how magic works in my world setting. His recent truce with Hulf after Master Conflict. Not many know he is the leader of the arcane except King Jenkins. Hint, hint, trying to strike a deal with King Jenkins for Ember Stock influence. I should also put in, also strike a deal with Dorman's, I think Jargon was his name? Advisor Jargon. Yep. And I detail that here. So, Arcane. Looks like the Arcane, I believe, just met with him on their own time. So I'm going to not include that. Jory was not part of that meeting. Basically, the Arcane, as you can see here on the map, that's what I'm keeping on the screen. Arcane is trying to take over the Southern Islands. They are trying to gain a footprint, get a footprint in every single settlement, no matter if it's a small settlement or as large as Haldworth. Dorman is probably the first settlement that the Arcane are trying to connect to. They not like necessarily claim it as their own, but as a safe house, theoretically speaking. So I'm thinking that the Arcane has already influence throughout the Southern Island. We're talking Ravenshade, the castle, obviously, maybe Septhane, possibly Cornerstone. Temple Dragon is gone, destroyed. Ashford's just ruined. So there's not much to choose from. What we're looking at is probably where they are 75% conditions throughout the world map, which means Jory's Arcane is probably bigger than we think, and that's why he operates on his own. He trusts his organization to do his faction to operate to his win, to his ideals. So that's why King Jenkins is also, let's go to his character, he is also not a good character. Sorry, I shouldn't say not a, shouldn't say that. I meant he is a evil character. So I took away his alignment. I just basically said, looks like royalty, but secretly corrupt-minded god complex. And here's what's going on with him for his little storyline, depending on how much we actually cross over into it. Family owns most of the land of Great Top, including the mountain ranges, has a conflicting past with the Council of Haldrith. I remember some of my viewers questioning that. Was a former councilman kicked out years ago, formed his own settlement of Emberstock. This is his backstory. That is what happened. I was trying to think of a way to connect him with Haldrith, which would explain why he stepped out of Haldrith to become this self-proclaimed king. And by chance, maybe his family, if they died off or not, we don't really know yet. They probably owned the land south of Escabur, south of Haldrith. So that's why he is so powerful, so influential in the Escabur Southern Island. So, like it says here, secretly plotting to take over South Island with Arcane's help. He has a partnership with them. He gave Shafe a mysterious package, secretly striking a deal with Jory for Arcane Alliance. Now, the question is, how deep is the Arcane Alliance? I think it's just starting, and that's why Jory is is here in Haldrith, or maybe it was purely coincidental. Jenkins came into Haldrith, so Jenkins has a plot of his own. I feel like that's going to be happening in the background, and I'm hoping not to forget it, but it's definitely a big chain to link all of this together. But right now we're focused on. Let's go back to focusing on Holf and Shafa. So right, so the package is in her study. We don't know what's in the package. It could be a Trojan horse of any type for the king, for the king's advantage. We don't really know. Maybe it was a trade, but again, that's another subplot. I don't want to put too much on the table right now because I feel like I'm losing track of things. But Holf explained, like I said earlier, he saw this guy break in. He defeated him. The end. The scroll he's holding was he said he found in his hand. Shafa takes the scroll and she recognizes the scroll. Doesn't untie the rope, but basically she recognizes it. She holds it tightly. She says, "Right, the arcane is a." She basically says that the arcane is a nuisance that she wants to just get rid of one day, but they don't have the ability to do so. She says they have bigger fish to fry. They'll just have to deal with the arcane as they come. And the Hulk says he wants to. He's about to say Jory is the guy you want to see. He is, but he's not. He's holding back. So this will be our first compel, and this is because look, she's aggravated and is visibly distraught. That the arcane is always they are a pest. They are a cockroach to her, and she hates them so much. But she doesn't know much about them. They're just everywhere. And I'm thinking the arcane is set up shop somewhere in the South Island. So that is another world building that I want to talk about. I believe I did decide on where they are established, their stronghold. Enemies. Let's see here. Has ties to King Jenkins. I think. Yep, Haldorf. All right. So I basically, yeah, Haldorf. They are. That is their. Which makes sense. It's the biggest location in the entire Escubar world map. So again, they are in Escabur. Right. Right. They are in Haldorf, which would explain why they're being so persistent, a nuisance to Shafa and the archives. The archives are also their own faction, though they're not evil. They are neutral to an extent, but they have some kind of agreement with the Council of Haldrith to operate within the city walls. So that's also a consideration. Now, she says she's talking to Wolf, and moments later, Rolf can kind of hear somebody walking down the hall. Familiar steps are being taken. So I'm going to roll a sense, a d6 skill, and that's it. Just d6. Now, the target number is always 4. And also, before we do that, I want to mention I did think of a new way for conflict. In the last one, I wasn't too happy with that back and forth D&D style, so I thought of a new method, which I will do if we have conflict in this episode. I want to show you two guys instead of just blabbering on about it. So we're doing a D6 roll, which is using this different dice app here. Now D6 and then just one roll. That's it. 2. That's a failure. So he does not know who is coming through the hallway, but he knows somebody's coming through the hallway. So he looks to the door. Shafa turns around, and you see a shadow kind of cross the doorway, and you hear a knock or kind of a door creak. And so she turns around quickly, runs to the door. She opens up, and it's Mortar. He's looking around like, and he notices Shafa. Says, "Have you seen Hulf?" And then he sees Hulf behind Shafa in the storage room, and he's like, "What are you guys doing in there?" And then Hulf points to the ground or kind of gestures to the ground to show the body. And he's like, "Who's that?" And Hulf explains it's an arcane member. She says, "What's going on?" Like she said, she asked Hulf, Mortar how the stones work out. Hulf also wondering how it worked out. So it's fine. He said he spoke to the father and he's aware. And she says, "You did not share the details regarding the big dragon, big potential dragon we have on our hands." He said, "No, just Hulf." So she takes a big sigh of relief, and then she says, "I have matters to attend to. We need to strengthen our security here. I'm going to go speak to my people." So she says, "Please see yourselves out when you can." So she she tells Wolf. Wolf says, "What about the body?" And then she says, "I'll take care of it." And then Wolf says, "But what was that scroll?" She asks. He asks Shafa. And again, she is stubborn. Let's go to Haldreth. She is stubborn. She does not reveal what that scroll was. This was not obviously the scroll. I think the scroll a long time ago that Hulk had evaporated or disintegrated with magic. So that's gone. So she says that's none of your business. And then she looks at Hulk's arm and says, "You better get that check. Better get that healed up." So she throws him, she goes into her study and then she throws him like some bandages. So we're going to do a heal roll, which will be a d4. And that's going to be um, back at our dice roller here, a d4 with bandages, which I will say, I think there is actually bandages in this game type. Let me see here. Tools, items. I need to print out an item list that I had here. But basically, let's see. Heal. A salve or bandages, D4. That's right. So D4 is the item we're using. So we're doing D4 for the skill of heal, two D4s basically. And we need to get four. Obviously, it won't be easy. Looks like we got four. Okay, so we were able to get one success, which means we were able to heal up and remove that aspect. So I'm going to remove cut arm, or actually, better yet, I'm going to reduce cut arm to a D6 instead of D8. There we go. Okay. Now, a couple of her, she signals a few people who are walking down the hall just coincidentally, and they pick up the body of the Arcanum and take him away. Just kind of drag him across the floor. And so she closes the door, locks it, or the door's again probably just got picked, so the lock isn't broken. She locks it with her keys, and she says, "Look, I appreciate your help, but I need you both to leave. I have some work to get to. If you need anything, just the magic sword." So the magic sword, she looks to Hulf. I think I have the magic sword in his inventory. Magic stone. Right, yes. Okay, so Hulf has the magic sword in his inventory. She she says to Hulf before she departs, to be the one who uses the sword, because obviously she thinks that Mortar's mind is too young or not mature enough, not um, yeah, not strong enough to handle the will of the sword. She says you clearly have it because Wolf has it in his belt or on his side. It's not like he's not going crazy. He's not seeing visions. Wolf agrees. Mortar doesn't really say much, but she does say to Mortar, "If you are lost, use the sword." And then she turns around and walks into her study, closes the door. So she's probably going to open the package and see what it is. So basically, the sword is a conduit for an attack and also information. So Hulk will use the sword for offense to attack. Mortar will use it for perhaps defense, but also a vision. It's basically a Deus Ex Machina. It's a plot device. So they don't really know where else to go. So Hulk and Mortar leave the archives. They um, walk through the library. They exit the building, and they're looking around. The sword is kind of covered by Hulk's cloak. Mortar is thinking, "Where do we go now?" And Hulk says, "Didn't you have to see the council?" He says, "Oh yeah, the council. Right, I forgot." So they have to go see the council. They go find our friend Campton. He's the advisor, or he's more of the liaison to the council, spokesman. So they go find him, and he's pleased to see them. He says, "The council's been waiting for you. Where have you been?" They said they've been handling some issues just next door. And he kind of whispers, The archives? And he says, yes, the archives. And Campton kind of says, keep your distance from them. And Mortar and Wolf are like, why? Campton explains, I'll tell you later. So follow me. We don't have time. So he leads them inside. Again, the big chamber doors open up and they walk inside to the council. The council are busy doing other city related matters and doing a vote of some sort. But then one of the council members sees Hulf and sees both Hulf and Mortar in the same together, and they speak up. They're happy to see that they've joined together um, to approach the council. Now, I've been thinking about what this practice is, what is happening here. So here's what I'm trying to say. Here is what I'm trying to do for the characters. Basically, as I simplified the timeline of elements, I'm trying to find out where, let's see, Dorman, Haldrith, characters. Okay. Let's see. Has met here. So, speak to the Council of Haldrith with Wulf to commence the sacred naming ritual of Ashford. And that's really it. So again, earlier in the campaign, Wulf was the one who got the Ashford title. It has to be done because Haldrith feels the need to do so, the council. But because Mortar walked into the picture, they need to redo the process. So let's check with the Oracle to see how this goes. Let's do action first, how the scene goes. We have 60 abuse, okay. Abuse 100. Information. Oh, okay. So what this might just mean, what this might mean is that they are upset at the revelation that they are brothers. That it's not just one individual. They state that typically one has to have the name of a title of royalty in these lands. The sacred naming ritual has to be done with only one recipient. Mortar says, well, he looks to Hulf, and Hulf is just kind of listening. He's attentively listening. I'm trying to see what he would say here. Looking at his perks, again, he's short, agile, um, empath. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Mortar. Hulf, clever. Well, I mean, you know what? Clever. Okay, here's an interesting idea. They have to travel north to. I don't think the council will let them go without any good reason. They have to. This has to be done. This is like procedure. They're, even though it's a theocratic council, they are bureaucratic at heart. It has to be done. It's like this is a procedure. Their procedure. But if if Hulf is not here in the city with the namesake, what's the point of bestowing it? They have to travel north again to meet to see Damon, but also because of the whole Esper, the title of the damn arc, um, and what are the Masters trying to do? We don't know. Plus, there's the Arcane. So Hulf says, "Council of Haldrith." He looks up. Mortar Mortar's the younger one. He doesn't really. He might not have the authority to speak here, but he did bring them together. He says, "I appreciate your time and assistance on this, but I do not wish to take the name." And they're all confused. They're all looking around like, whisper, whisper, whisper. They're all talking amongst themselves. One elder, one councilman looks forward and says, "Why is that, young man?" He looks down and says, "I have recently discovered, along with knowing my brother is alive, so is my father. With that information, I do not deserve the name of Oshman. My father does." And so again, they start to whisper, and the council gets aggravated. They say, "This needs to be done," in a very loud voice, and it echoes throughout the chamber. Olaf and Mortar listen attentively. They listen uh, attentively. And then one council member stands up and says the following. Let's go to the Oracle. He says, blah, blah, blah. He will say 70 extravagance. Oh, okay. He says it with extravagance. He says it very exaggeratedly, exaggerated. Haggle. Okay, so I think this member of the council is trying to be very pushy and haggle. Again, I'm going to go by the word literally. He says, "But you must have the name. You too are the survivals, the descendants of Ashford. Only remaining survivors." Holf says, "Yes, and my father. He is the oldest of us, the remaining survivors of Ashford. He rightfully deserves the name. We do not." And so the council begin to debate each other, and they conclude that Holf is right. Or will this be a skill roll? So let's see what we got here for trying to convince them. I think entice might be yeah, entice. So it's a D4. There's no items to help here. Perhaps tactical mind. Let's do daring. So I'm going to spend a fate point, a ardor point, for a D8 roll. So we'll go to our dice tray. A D8, and his entice is only a D4. It's not very impressive. Target number is 4, as always. We're rolling for this to see if he can convince them otherwise. That is a success. The aspect did indeed help. So that's a 4. It barely worked. And to be honest with you guys, this whole, I realize I'm driving the story here, but I think it's kind of silly what I'm going with here. I'm doubting my own work, but I just don't like how it's working out. Like I'm just this whole name thing. It worked out earlier. Wolf was the only one there, and it was a survivor. He met with Halder. Halder's like, "You are the Ashford name," blah blah blah. But now it's like, there's 3 of them alive. So the council says they conclude that you may bear the name of Ashford, but without your father here present, the name is the name is stateless. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a trying to think of an out conclusion here. You know what? Actually, I do like how this is working out. I took a pause. I realized these guys are so bureaucratic. Like there's a Futurama episode where bureaucracy. I think it's Hermes episode. Um, it makes fun of the whole filing systems and everything takes forever. Let's play on that. Let's use that for comedic reasons. Basically, the council's debating amongst each other. It's like a 50-50 split. It's like you got 6 Republicans and 6 Democrats. They're all just spitballing ideas. Like, let's do this. Let's bring their father in. Let's give them the title. Let's not do this. Let's ban them from the city. Let's have them executed. Let's play pick a ball with them. There's all these really random ideas, just all pathetic and just bureaucratic bullshit. And so Holf and Mortar just standing there like this, looking at each other like, what the hell's going on? And so one council member just stands up and frustrated. He slams the table and goes, look, we're not going anywhere with this. We need to debate this for another week. Let's get our information processed. We'll go by all legal channels and we'll get back to you two. You two are free to go, but come back within 1 week and we'll have an answer for you. And Holf and Mortar are like, okay, thank you, council, and they leave. So there you go. They need more time to figure something out, and I'm making a little joke about government in general there. So again, they're taking their sweet time. They have to do all these legal channels and procedures to do such a simple thing, and that's just to bestow a name, a title amongst a person, and they can't reach an agreement. So they leave. I just wanted to get that scene over with. I had no idea where it was going to go, and I figure, you know what? Why not? Why just make fun of the whole theocratic system or bureaucratic system? They're debating amongst each other about the most stupidest shit. So it's like they can't reach an idea. They can't reach a conclusion for this. So Holf and the doors close. Holf and Mortar leave. They meet with Campton. They talk with Campton about what happened, and Campton says, "Yeah, they have a tendency to do that, but not a lot gets done here, so I have to kind of do everything myself." So he's just detailing that, yeah, this is not unusual. This happens from time to time. They try to make laws or something. It takes like weeks for laws to pass, and so thankfully they don't have to declare war anytime soon. Nudge, nudge. And Mortar and Hull have a little laugh, and they explain that they have to go. They have an eager assignment to take care of, a quest to uptake, a journey to undertake. Basically, if we're thinking about Ironsworn. So they basically have to travel north all the way to back to Horwood, and might have to be by boat this time. So because what is closest to the peak? If I want to say, I haven't really decided where the peak is, but I'm going to say it's around this area, the very, very north tip of the northern point of the mountains, the peaks of Pantheon. So, again, we're still here. And so they asked Campton, can we rent a boat? Are there any ferries or boats that go up north at this point? And he says, well, we haven't had much success in deliveries to Corwood, which again is the harbor, which Damon is in charge of now. I remember um, early in the last, I think, to the south when I first started, when Mortar was making his way down south. He couldn't get a boat because the harbor was just in complete distress. It was disorganized. There was no boats. But now maybe they fixed things up a bit. Maybe there's some kind of process going through. So Camden's like, there is a boat you can rent. They typically probably you can probably hitch tag along on an existing delivery we have going up there now. So he's looking through some papers. Let's say he takes him to a certain room and looks through some books, and maybe there's a shipment going out to Corwood to trade that they can tag along in. So he says, ask for the harbor master, and they'll give you more information. It might cost you a pretty penny, but mention that Campton sent you, you might get a deal. So they take that information. They leave the um, they leave the council, the city hall, and as they're walking out, something happens. So this is going to be dramatic. I had an idea for this before I started recording, but I want to see what the dice say. I'm just really curious if they can, ironically, give me a similar answer. So let's roll for subject. We have 76, the mundane. Mundane. Okay, so keep that one in mind. We have mundane, 55. Mundane disrupt. All right, so here's what happens. Everything seems normal. Chaos factor is 5. There's no chaos factor. I'm not using it for this one, but in a sense, everything's normal. They're ready to go. The mundane, and I already forgot what I rolled. Sorry. 55. That is disrupt. Somebody has to disrupt the current scene. They leave the king, the hall, the Capitol building, the city hall, and they're making their way north. They're ready to go. They're packed. They have no arbor points. They're not no wounds. Just that little cut arm that I'm going to say we'll probably have to heal up here soon. And as they're walking past the library, there is a crowd of people rushing out of the library in fear and screaming. And Holth and Mortar are kind of caught up in the wind. They see people running by them, looking around, and then as they look, see what the hell's going on, because again, this is obviously related to the archives. They're Mortar's like, what's going on in there? Holth's like, I don't know. There's too many people, and the people library was unusually busy today, and then a few more stragglers leave, and it's just complete eerie silence. The crowd is dispersing. They are running away. There's a couple of city guards running up. One or two run up and see Holth. They know him, and they ask Holth like, what's going on here? And all of a sudden, I don't, not sure. We're just crossing by, and all of a sudden, the crowd of people started running out of the library, and they hear a screech, a loud, blaring sound coming out of, like a scream, coming out of the library, and then pure darkness inside the library. So now, as Holth and Mortar stand there with their weapons drawn, because this is not good, the one guard is also standing there. A certain individual steps out with trying to figure out how to detail this for you guys visually. Trying to figure out how to give you a visual clue. But it's basically Shafa. And let's go to her profile here. So Shafa is currently possessed. She is holding something. It is a golden dagger that is glowing. And as she's holding it, her face is completely blank. There is no expression, there's no pupils, it's just pure white eyes. And she's holding a dagger with blood on it. And she's holding the head of a victim next to her hand, on her other hand. And it's the head of the arcane member that was left in earlier. So something happened. She's covered in blood. She holds this strange golden dagger in her hand that Holf notices. No roll necessary. And Shafa is standing there, motionless, staring straight at Mortar right now. At the golden sword, actually. So that's where I'll leave off. This is, again, I want to throw a big curveball here, but I have an idea for this, and I hope you guys enjoyed how it landed. So that's going to be it for this episode. As always, thank you for watching.